Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to Leo season. This is a reading for anyone who's Sagittarius identified. That includes Sagittarius Sun, Rising, and Moon. If you know you have other placements in Sag and you know about those placements, please listen also for their archetypal guidance in this reading. This is a reading for Leo season in 2024. That's July 22nd through August 22nd. This reading is also timeless, so whenever you happen to come across it, this reading is for you. All right, first, some just general themes that are coming through for Sagittarius and Leo season. Sagittarius, you have arrived in this life in your Sagittarian identified skin suit and identity with some inheritances. So as a Sagittarius, you have inherited the gifts of philosophy and teaching and perspective and broad vision. Sagittarius is represented by the archer who sees the vista and sees the goal, and then behind it sees another. There's always a sense of adventure that wants to be opened up for our Sagittarius placements. And once we have reached the culmination of one particular adventure, it's off to the next. And in the way that you have inherited this capacity for broad vision, you have also inherited a capacity for perspective. You know that there are many different goals that you can hold in your heart. You know that there is evolution at hand. I think that it is important for you right now to keep in mind that whatever it is that you are working on or working towards is one step in your journey. And it feels like a lot of you have put a lot of eggs into a particular basket. So there's a kind of focus in your chart right now that's telling me that you are working on something that you've been working on for a while. I think that you're coming into a space where you have been weathered and tempered and conditioned. You've worked through a lot of things. It's kind of like you're ready to present your findings. Some of you may literally be getting ready to teach something or step into a role of a teacher. And in the way that you teach, there's a leadership quality. And what you're bringing forth is a kind of philosophy or worldview. You are inviting a perspective to broaden with you. Now, at the same time, it's really important that you are curious and that you do see that whatever it is that you're looking at is part of a larger journey. The best teachers out there are lifetime students. The people who are the most engaging, the most inspiring, the most expansive in the ways that they open up knowledge and learning are the people who are still impressed and in awe with how much there is to know and how much there is to learn. So if we get to a place where we think that, we're an expert in something, there's nothing left to learn, and we definitely know, we're lost, right? Like that sense of kind of absolute completion is like you're done. What else do you have to offer from there? And so I think that a lot of you are kind of in this interesting space. It feels like a space of dynamic and creative tension in your life right now, where you've practiced something for a while. You know something really deeply. I think you know it in your body. You know it through your experience. You are in a position where you need to be delivering that in some way. It might be through direct teaching. It might be through being a role model. It might be in some other shape or form where you might be in a position of mentorship or experimentation, and you can kind of guide the way. But it is absolutely essential right now that you are not in that position alone, and that you're not thinking of yourself as there alone. You haven't gotten there alone. Whatever you've learned from others. You certainly are not there alone. Whatever it is that you know, others know it too, and they know it in different ways than you. And when you combine, you have a kind of multidimensional perspective. And you don't know it in any kind of finality because everything is always changing. So wherever you feel your sense of expertise and competence right now, because again, it does feel like there's this energy for Sagittarius to know what you know and bring it forward into the world. We also need you operating from a place of curiosity and humor and experimentation and being willing to both be competent and confident and also in a beginner's mind. And so over the course of Leo season, or whenever you happen to hear this, Sagittarius, I want to say that your willingness to not know, to laugh about what cannot be known, to be humble in the relationship that you have with the vastness and immensity of mystery, that is so supportive for you. And when you tap into a kind of cosmic sense of humor, like, wow, here you are, and experience is always unfolding. And when you practice giving gratitude and being kind of dedicated and devoted to what you know also works for you, right? So there's a kind of feeling of practice and devotion and consistency while you're also being open to what's new and what's unknown, and continuing to show up for it. That's actually the ticket for you. That's like the golden ticket, because we need you practiced. We need you devoted. We need you, again, tempered, conditioned, like in a space where you have something in your body because you're practicing it every day. We need you teaching, offering, role modeling, exempling to others in the world in whatever way that you might from that place. And then we also need you doing it with the knowledge that you don't have the whole story and that there's a lot to learn from those and that which is around you. And when you have an attitude of experimentation that is collaborative and you're inviting others in to be part of something with you, when you're generously offering what you have to give to a kind of larger whole where your offering can be received and complementary to what else is there, then we really have you with, the gem of some kind of sense of purposefulness that you are connecting with in your life path. Another big theme in Leo season for Sagittarius is the way that you are adjusting right now, how you are moving towards some kind of goal. Over the course of the next 2 months or so, between Leo season and Virgo season, we're working with a Mercury retrograde between the signs Leo and Virgo. And these are important placements in your chart as they hold the heaven of your chart. And they really talk about what your big aspirations are and how you're moving out and into the world from a place of your own perspective, philosophy, and worldview. Your worldview and philosophies are shifting right now. Ideally, they're shifting because you're practicing curiosity, because you are collaborating and you are experimenting. Ideally, they're shifting because you are open and receptive to the ways that the world around you is shifting and changing. In the next 2 months or so, a lot of you are course correcting in some important ways. Now, my hope for you, Sagittarius, is that how you're course correcting is bringing you more deeply into alignment with your authenticity, with your courage, and with your heart and center. Leo in our bodies rules the heart and rules the spine. And one suggestion that I have for you, again, over the course of the next 2 months or so, I'm going to stay until the end of August, is to really tune in with the feeling that you have of your heart and your spine in your body, especially when you're trying to make choices, especially when you are putting yourself out into the world. And absolutely, if you are in any kind of position of leadership or have the potential to be in leadership, we really need you to be coming from a very centered place right now. And the center is always something that we're spiraling around, right? Like think about how a vine grows up a tree or something like that. The place of center is a place of movement. It's a place of balance. It's a place of discernment where we can feel when we're off center. The ability to feel when you're off center is key for your success at the moment. And it's really, really helpful in discerning your choices, particularly choices that might have to do with career and vocation, particularly choices that have to do with next steps in your life, choices that might have to do with travel or location or where you want to go. Definitely choices that have to do with relationships. And finally, again, if you're in any position of leadership or teaching, we absolutely need you to be tuning in with your heart and with your center. That includes folks who are in advisory roles, who work as counselors of any kind, or if you're in a position to somehow be disseminating knowledge and information into the world, like if you're a writer or a speaker or a publisher or something like that. If you work in the realms of justice or law, we really, really need you to be in your heart and in your center right now. What does that look like practically? That looks like slowing down, taking your time and noticing when you feel a kind of way. Do you feel fussed and urgent and hasty? Guess what? You're out of your center. Do you feel tired and reluctant and resentful? Guess what? You're out of your center. Now, I'm not saying that just feeling those ways takes you out of your center, but if you're feeling those ways and you are not cognizant that you're feeling those ways and you're not caring for yourself as you feel those ways, then you're uncentered. So if you notice that you're urgent and hasty and you've got all kinds of charge moving through your body and you're like, rah, 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 I'm going to do a thing. I'm going to go say that thing. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. Noticing, wow, my heart rate is elevated. I feel hot under my collar. I'm trying to teach somebody a lesson. Like I have this energy that is moving up and out. That gives you capacity to work with your own impact. If you notice, wow, I'm feeling tired. I'm reluctant to move that direction. I'm resentful. That's feeling a different kind of energy in your body, moving you in a particular kind of direction. When you notice and take stock of how you're feeling, then you can care for yourself. It might be inappropriate for you to be moving forward in a particular way. Maybe you need a nap. Maybe you need a meal before doing X, Y, or Z. Or maybe there are some emotional concerns or misgivings that need to be addressed. Maybe there's honesty that actually is required of you, some kind of communication that needs to be expressed before we can move forward into some particular direction. So over the course of over the course of Leo season, Sagittarius, I really want to encourage you to try and feel your heart and your sense of center in your body. When you notice that your energy is feeling a kind of way, if you're like here or here, that's doing a thing. That's doing a thing to your perspective. That's doing a thing to your options. And that's doing a thing in the world and in your relationships. Whatever it is that you're trying to do right now is going to be well served by you taking the time that you need to notice where you're coming from. And in your noticing, you can be discerning and caring for where you're coming from. When you attend to your own inner needs, that brings you back to your center. It gives you more agency and capacity to do whatever it is that you're trying to do with skill. The last thing I'm going to say in terms of big themes for you in Leo season is coming back to this theme of collaboration. Sagittarius, you're part of something bigger than yourself. Right now, there's a lot of emphasis for you in the changing nature of your relationships, and particularly in the quality of conversations and interactions that you are having and want to be having. I feel that a lot of you are participating with elevating consciousness in some way. I think that many folks out there who are driven and moved by the Sagittarius impulses are folks who are really interested in consciousness, and they want to be participating with the evolution of consciousness. Now, that can happen in a myriad of ways. And whatever it is that you might be doing, I feel that there is a quality to the conversations that you are having and want to be having right now that has a kind of intensity to it. This intensity is transformative in its essence. You want to be connecting with people and conversing with people in ways that change things and that change consciousness and that participate with the ongoing change that consciousness is always involved in. This could look like a lot of things, but again, we have themes of teaching and learning and collaborating and connecting and experimenting. There are also themes here of your own consciousness getting expanded in the ways that you are tuning in to really notice where you're coming from, so that you can sense into the environment and notice how where you're coming from invites other people to meet you there, or has an impact or an invitation that is oftentimes kind of below the level of your surface consciousness or mental consciousness. I think that many of you are transmitting information on multiple levels right now. Definitely a lot of you are using your words in new ways. Some of you might be feeling compelled to speak up, to speak out. That can definitely include your written communications as well as your verbal communications. But deeper than language, we have your energetic affect, and you communicate so much in your energy and in the way that you hold space and move through space and take up space. And it is so important right now that you are curious and learning about the ways that you participate in the consciousness of your environments, in the kinds of conversations that can happen when you're in the room. This does not always require, and a lot of the times, actually, it really doesn't mean that you are in a space of explicit or direct leadership. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are in the center. It doesn't mean that you are prophesying or predicting or philosophizing, for others to just listen and follow. A lot of times what it means is you are participating in the environment in some way so that culture is shifting in the environment. If you're part of shifting culture, then you are also part of disrupting kind of more status quo mentality right now around individualism and like top-down hierarchical knowledge models, or center to periphery wealth models or something like that. You are looking to uplift community in your vicinity and in your immediate connections and environment. And in that uplifting, you are wanting to participate with connections and conversations and consciousness as it evolves. Okay, so over the course of Leo season in 2024, there's a lot that's happening. I'm going to focus in on a couple of key moments, and I'm going to follow the lunar cycle to help me do this. So we begin Leo season with a full moon. There's a full moon in the very last moments of Cancer season, and then Leo season starts. This is a full moon that amplifies the nature of change. We're living at a time when there is a lot that's breaking down. There's a lot of disruption. There's a lot of chaos. In the breakdown and the disruption, there are many who are vying for power. There's also a breakdown, as I mentioned a moment ago, of hierarchical models of power. And in that breakdown, we don't have any kind of guarantee that we're going to get a different model of power. But there is, I think, again, in the sense of consciousness shifting or conversations shifting, there are a lot of folks who are interested in different kinds of power right now and upsetting the notions of like saviors or heroes or one leader, right? One president who might be able to get us out of the pickle that we're in. A lot of folks are interested in more collective models of leadership. And there's so much creative potential for that right now. So as we enter into Leo season in your chart, Sagittarius, I think that there's a feeling of recognition that you are part of an environment, and the environment around you creates you. Who you are totally relies on everything that's around you. If everything that was around you wasn't here, you wouldn't be here either. And the feeling that I have for you as we move into Leo season is a kind of awe, like a being struck by something, a being struck by, wow, okay, I'm part of something much bigger than me. There's a feeling of vastness that puts you in your place. And ideally, you feel yourself in that place as having something that you really want to give back to your environment. There are a lot of themes of service coming up for you throughout Leo season and into Virgo season. And the first week or so of Leo season, from the full moon to the fourth quarter, from the 22nd through the 29th, these are really bringing themes forward of service. You are part of something larger than you. Leo is ruled by the sun. The sun is very special for us on planet Earth, but the sun is just one star in the unfolding, expanding universe. And it's kind of a small star, but it's a special star. It's our star. And it's not the only star. So there's many kinds of special. And this is kind of the feeling that we want right now, is that there is a disruption of the idea of an individual special and a relaxation into the sense of sacredness that is continuous across life, that moves through you as an individual and that saturates and permeates the environment that you're a part of. These themes of service are so important as we move into Leo season for you. I really feel that you are trying to figure out how you can be most deeply and most effectively of service in the world and in your community at this time. The 27th through the 29th brings us to the fourth quarter in the sign Taurus. This weekend really amplifies the feelings of wanting to be of service. I think a lot of you are recognizing how and where and when and with who you can give what you have to give. It's super important right now that you're not trying to do everything for everyone. You do not have the answers for everyone, and you are just one slice of the pie, right? You're one star in the sky. When you show up giving what you can give to this place of the pie or star in the sky, then we get to really receive your brilliance. This is a great period of time for you to check in with where you're doing too much, where it's extra, where you might be engaging from places of fear or from ideas that you can control others or outcomes or something like that. We really need you resting into humility and humor. We want you to give what you have to give fully, heartfully, courageously. And that means that you have to feel confident and competent in what you have to give, which also means that you're clear that you're not giving everything. You need to be working in community and collaboration with others. If you don't know who they are specifically, I need you to trust that they're there. Show up for the work that's yours, give it generously and gracefully, and then allow yourself to be held in everything that you are a part of. You do not need to do everything alone. You want to work smarter, not harder. And part of how you're working smarter is by extending your consciousness and intelligence into collaboration, into the ways that you work in tandem and concert with others. As we move from the month of July into the month of August, we are moving from the fourth quarter lunation to the new moon. We have a new moon in Leo on August 4th. This is a new moon that is inviting you, Sagittarius, to feel into your deepest sense of purpose. the overarching philosophy that you might have for your life, I really want to encourage you to ask yourself who you would be if you were only here for your own evolution. Like if you were here to truly 100% be yourself, and you weren't here for external validation, you weren't here to prove anything, you weren't here to control anything, you weren't here because being here meant anything for anybody else. You were just here to experience the full potential of the spirit that lives in your body. What would you be doing? How would you be behaving? How would you move through your life? There's a feeling right now at this new moon of needing to remember what you came here for and who you are and what the gifts are that you have to give. The day before this new moon on August 3rd, I'm going to be a guest teacher in my colleague Gab's virtual space called the Nebula Lab. Over the course of 2024, Gabs is working in the Nebula Lab exploring Neptune as a planetary symbol. And on August 3rd, I'm going to be joining them and giving a guest presentation on Neptune in your birth chart. Now, this symbol has a lot to do with the dream that we're all dreaming. And in the idea of a sense of purpose, there's longing, there's a dream, there's a feeling of what could be possible if you were totally tuned in and tapped into the kind of subtle energy that moves through you that's part of the universal consciousness. Sagittarius, I think you might enjoy this workshop. It is a fun place to learn about how you as an individual also connect into a generational force. And again, there is a sense that you need to feel yourself as part of something greater. And all of us are here working in cohorts of generational astrology. And so tuning in with astrology, and particularly with the generational planets like Neptune, I think is very supportive in sensing how we can contribute to the collective consciousness as it's unfolding at this time. So this new moon is asking you to tune in with the dream. What kind of dream are you? What kind of idea are you? And in order to dream the best dream that you can be, to be the full manifestation of the kind of idea that you are, how do you need to adjust so that you're coming into your life from this place of, again, heartfulness and centeredness, of connection with what is bigger than you and vaster than you, but that you are also part of? The new moon to the first quarter, August 4th through August 12th, feels like a period of time when some of you are in important places of discernment and refinement. There is a feeling here of needing to check and double check what you're trying to do out in the world. Now, I mentioned Mercury is retrograde in Virgo and Leo over this course of time. And Mercury is stationing retrograde on the day of the new moon on August 4th. It will station direct at the end of August on the 28th. And its retrograde moves from 4 degrees of Virgo back to 21 degrees of Leo. So if you're somebody who works with your chart placements, then you might want to tune in with that. So this week from the new moon till the first quarter is the first week of Mercury's retrograde. Mercury is making an important aspect to Venus at that time, and this aspect is happening in a part of your chart that has a lot to do with how you're putting yourself out in the world. Issues of vocation and career are really important right now, as well as themes of adulting in general, your responsibilities, how you hold yourself, what you stand for, who you are. If you're, again, in any position of leadership, and that could include being a parent, it could include being older than somebody, it could include being somebody's boss, and it can definitely include being a teacher of any kind. If you're in any position of leadership, it is so important right now that you are tuning in with these ideas of service. How can you be of service most effectively, most generously, most courageously, and most honestly? I need to say that a lot of folks want to check in with their ideas of what service means. We live in a world that has been, that the idea of service has been distorted and kind of made to fit into boxes that are built with the good bad binaries, and that have been shaped very much around notions of scarcity and self-sacrifice. I believe that we are most profoundly, generously, and skillfully of service when we are giving from our truest selves. Now, our true selves are not easy to come into contact with or maintain contact with. They get easily obscured by our egos. That includes our insecurities as well as our arrogances. This is a period of time, again, when you really want to tune in with, how are you centered? Are you coming from your heart? If you feel that there are ways that you are trying to control, trying to prove something, trying to be better than somebody else, Sagittarius, that's a red flag. If you feel insecure, reluctant, like you don't have what it takes, oh, who am I to put myself out there? I don't have anything, also a red flag. We need you feeling into your biggest gifts at this time. We need you clarifying where you may not have been giving your biggest gifts because you've been operating on some kind of idea of what it means to be a good person, or a person that's in service, or a person who's part of some particular group or something like that. It is now absolutely essential that you are really tuning in with what your heart knows to be true. And I do need to say it again. You are part of evolution. Evolution is evolving. And what you feel in your heart right now will change over time. And so I'm not asking you to formalize something, to find something that is unchanging and ever present. I'm asking you to practice discerning around how you can come from your heart and come back to your heart, how you can be in your center and come back to your center. I'm asking you to notice where and how and when and with whom you're coming from a place of ego. Ego includes the kind of overextension of ego, arrogance, etc. It also includes insecurity, self-doubt, and self-hatred. From the fourth quarter to the full moon, from August 12th through 19th, we are entering one of the most intense, chaotic, volatile moments of 2024. This looks like a total cluster in my astrology map. I'm going to say that a lot is happening right now. And when there is chaos, when there's disruption, we have a lot of opportunities for creativity. What I want to emphasize right now are themes of adaptability, preparation, and perspective. It is an opportunity for us, as things feel kind of chaotic and broken open. It's an opportunity for us to connect with others in new ways. It's important right now that we are working skillfully with judgment, especially when it comes to narratives that we have about ourselves and others. When we tell stories about who we are or who other people are, we really limit the capacity of who everybody gets to be. Sagittarius, this feels really important for you right now. I think that a lot of you are really needing to open up some new frameworks for perspective. You might be people who are holding containers for new perspectives and different kinds of conversations to happen. I think that you are doing amazing work when you are holding spaces of tension where there might be judgments that are there, and you're conscious of those judgments and you're going to be accountable to them, but you also can let them go. So this looks like the willingness to have hard conversations. This looks like transparency and honesty that are coupled with compassion and curiosity. This feels like a period of time for you when, in the ways that you are navigating relationship in the world, you really want to try to meet others from your center, from your heart, and also with recognition and support for them to be in their centers and in their hearts. People are scared right now. People are feeling extreme. People are feeling pushed into kind of polarized consciousness. And there are a lot of places in between. Where we feel polarized, there's a lot of places in between. We do not live in a binary universe. Our universe is constantly expanding. It's multidimensional. There is way more that's here than any of us can comprehend. When we meet others, we really want to hold the possibility that they are also expanding, unfolding universes. We want to create spaces where we can get to know our potential together. And Sagittarius, I want to emphasize that for you right now, especially as we get to the full moon on August 19th. It's really important that you are adaptable, that you are exploring how you can listen and converse in new and different ways. It's also important that you are preparing yourself to be adaptable. This is a recognition that things are changing quickly, that you don't know how things will change. You actually don't know what the outcome is going to be. So your preparation for adaptability is practicing listening inside, tuning in with your intuition, and also noticing when you're off center. And finally, this is a period of time that is really asking for perspective. This is the kind of perspective that holds a big space. Hold a long arc for yourself and for others. Seek to see how things are arising. How did they become what they are right now? If you're only focused on what something is in the moment, you're missing the story of it. In order to change anything and to be part of a kind of ongoing or generative evolutionary change, we need to have some consideration for how things became what they are. And as we consider how things became what they are, we also need to remember and play with the fact that things are still moving. And so we're not at any kind of final stop in the story. There's actually so much more that is possible, and we want to tune in with what those potentials could be. Around the full moon, Embodied Astrology is offering a couple of workshop spaces that are really set up to help with this. So on the 18th of August, which is a Sunday, Sherry Taylor will begin a new devotional cycle in her council sessions for a series that she's teaching with Embodied Astrology called Solve e Coagula. Those are Latin words that mean to dissolve and congeal. Sherry's working with the energy of Saturn in Pisces this year. And this is a special council session on August 18th. Sherry will invite a co-host, Anders Renee, who is a fabulous queer astrologer, to come and join her. Anders has a specific focus on vocational astrology. So for those of you, and I think there's plenty of you Sagittarians out there who are thinking about how do you really tap in and tune in with your purpose, with your vocation, with your offering in the world, this is the council for you. This is where Anders is going to be helping all of us tune into our charts to really tap into how we can give our best gifts and follow the paths that are going to be not just most beneficial for us, but most beneficial for all involved. This is the beginning of a 3-part series with Sherry over the course of the next month or so until the end of September. Sherry is an amazing teacher. She is a grief worker, a death doula, and a clinical psychologist, as well as an amazing astrologer. And working with her through the course of one of these 3-part council sessions is an investment in your spiritual growth. It is definitely really helpful for clarifying ego, especially with the focus that she has this year with Saturn. Now, the day after the full moon, that is Tuesday, the 20th of August, Janata Petrus will be holding a full moon artistic alchemy space for Embodied Astrology. Janata leads full moon circles every month where she invites exploration of the zodiacal polarity so that we can feel into how these energies move through us. Everybody has all 12 signs in their chart, and this month, Janata is going to be helping us feel into where we each have the signs Leo and Aquarius. Leo's opposite sign is Aquarius. For you, Sagittarius, on a solar chart level, so this is accurate for Sagittarius risings, but a symbol definitely for Sagittarius sun and moon. Leo and Aquarius hold the axis of the ninth and the third houses. This is an axis of teaching and learning. It's an axis of immediate environment and larger world. This is a place where we pick up data and make meaning out of that data. And then from the meanings that we make, we get to expand our consciousness and learn how much more there is. At the Artistic Alchemy Spaces, we are working to work with creativity in our lives and our day-to-day experiences, and also in particular offerings. This is a great place for you to come if you're working on any specific art projects. It's also a great place to come where if you want to recognize that life is art and apply creativity to your living and to your surviving in these times of great instability and also beauty. Janata is a really generous facilitator and has so much love and humor and perspective and amazing prompts. So I hope to see you at one of those events. I also want to say that Embodied Astrology is hosting an in-person retreat in October from the 24th through the 27th. Ramon and Michelle Gabrieloff Parrish and I will be co-facilitating an on-land retreat at the Eco Dharma Center in Colorado called Body of Stars. This is a retreat where we're going to play with astrology in experiential, embodied, and communal ways. It's an opportunity to really dive deep into working with astrology in ways that are very much relational, that have a lot to give to us when it comes to the ways that we are navigating the changes on Earth at this time. Ramon and Michelle are longtime activists and organizers in the realms of food and environmental justice, and they're going to be bringing in their work and strategy to this retreat as well. There is more information on everything that I mentioned in terms of our workshops at Embodied Astrology in the show notes, or you can head to embodiedastrology.com or follow us on Instagram at Embodied Astrology or YouTube at Embodied Astrology for more information. Sagittarius, I'm wishing you all the best in Leo season and beyond. Be that leader that is humorous, that is heartfelt, that is curious, and that reaches out and brings everybody up with you. I have faith in you, and I love you. Bye for now.